It's a strange kind of risk on when defence stocks look set to lead the way here in Europe.
Yeah, I am finding it slightly confusing how optimistic markets are generally trading. Tonight is the tariff deadline. I expect tariffs will be imposed. The hint over the weekend from Howard Lutnick was that they'll be imposed at a lower level. But I think that just the fact that we'll have tariffs imposed by the new administration on somewhere else besides China and close allies, the US, you would think is a risk negative. Now, maybe if they come in as low as 5%, markets kind of go, OK, it's going to be more gradual, less than threatened, and that means it's something we can deal with. Maybe. But I am surprised, given the risk events this week, that we are trading quite so risk on. And I say that as someone who is very, very constructive for global equity markets this year. Not the US. I do think we've at the end of US exceptionalism. So I think US markets underperform. But I think that global markets can do very well. But in the short term, I am nervous given the risk events.
Do you think there's a Trump put, Mark? I look at the crypto news over the weekend and I wonder whether that is the case. Crypto gets knocked pretty hard. Trump steps in. Could the same thing apply to the equity markets?
It certainly felt like there was a Trump put for crypto. I think there probably is a Trump put, but I just think it's nowhere close. I think in his last administration, there seemed to be a Trump put, but it was when the market got nearly 20% down. So I don't think the Trump put is on play for the stock market right now. I'm not a full believer in this new narrative in markets that the Trump administration actually wants the kind of growth pain they're getting at the moment because they're focused on getting yields lower and that'll help their overall definancialization of the US economy and help their long-term goals. Take the pain now and then turn it around in time for the midterms. I'm not a full believer in that, but I'm open-minded to the fact. And I certainly think that the administration are more willing to take short-term pain than I think many people were originally thinking about only a month or two ago.
And Mark, in terms of the response to the tariff story, do you think that markets are too pessimistic about the NPC meeting this week?
It's really hard to know on that one. I think this is another very, very big event. But the history of the last few years in China is a lot of promise and then ultimately underperformance on the kind of the delivery and the concrete measures. Now, as you know, I think last September was a real game changer, a real turning point for the longer term China narrative. And I think it's Hong Kong stocks are the more value way to play it. And that's that they are aware they can't have too much markets pain. I expect that the NPC will not impress the bulls out there, but I think they'll deliver enough to not, feed the bears. So I think it'll be kind of maybe a mixed measures, maybe a little bit disappointing in the short term, but it'll continue the narrative that they're providing structural and sustainable gains for the Chinese markets, and they're helping the economy at the margins slowly escape deflation and can remove some of the debt overhang that's there and make it sustainable for the long term.